Na 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 Batman. Along came Spider-Man, thought he was a boogeyman. Na 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 Batman, Batman, Batman. Na 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 Batman. This is going to be a follow-up to my previous Arkham Knight video. I played more and more of the game, so I'm going to go into a little bit more detail with the story, characters, also the side missions. Also going to be doing some responses to some of the reviews and criticisms that it's gotten as well. This will contain spoilers, so you have been warned. Spoilers abound. Alright, so first is the story overview. Blah, 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 blah. Scarecrow threatens to unleash a toxin. Blah, 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 blah. Batman must save the day. Blah, 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 blah. The Joker shows up. The Joker showing up was actually pretty cool. I really liked that box. It fit very well. I had an inkling that the Joker might show up after he died at the end of Arkham City. I was just thinking that there's somehow, some way he's going to be in this game. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I've just had an inkling. I just had a feeling that somehow, some way he might be in this game. So I was really glad to see that he was. And the way they did it was absolutely perfect. That scene where you are moving the canisters into the slots, and it's just moving really slowly, and you hear the percentage going down. It starts going up as you're inhaling the toxins, you're coughing, and the voices start changing, and then all of a sudden, miss me. Also, just how the Joker plays out in Batman's psyche throughout the rest of the game, just like showed up from time to time, and just little quips and things that he's saying that really emphasize the fears that Batman has as he's becoming more and more of the Joker. And as we get to the end of the game, we see how he has to deal with the Joker inside his mind, how he has to defeat the Joker, so he's no longer afraid after that, which is actually what helps him escape. So in truth, Batman was kind of saved by the Joker. Alright, now many people are saying that they saw the Arkham Knight reveal coming a mile off. They said that just some of the clues that were placed around, they can tell exactly who it was going to be. Personally, I didn't see it coming. I didn't guess who it's going to be, but then I'm not that familiar with Batman comics. I don't read them because they're just absolutely boring. They are really, really boring. I mean, I like the Batman movies, I like the Batman games, but the comics are so boring. I would rather watch Citizen Kane than read a Batman comic. That's how boring they are.
Have you ever tried to sit through Citizen Kane?
Yeah, I know, it's really boring, but it's like a big deal.
Yeah.
So I didn't see it coming, but I did find the eventual reveal was very underwhelming. Perhaps because I'm not that familiar with Batman comics, I'm not that familiar with who Jason Todd was. I know all about Dick. I know Dick. I like Dick. Dick was in the game as well, and I like that you get to play with Dick in the game. There's even a whole side mission involving Dick. But even still, I think there should have been more Dick in the game. The game can do with more Dick. In fact, speaking of Dick, one of my favourite parts of the game is when you come up to the first Penguin gun stash and you beat the thugs with Dick. And after that, the Joker in your mind does an impression of the Penguin. And it doesn't sound like the Penguin. It actually sounds like the Joker doing an impression of the Penguin. It just sounded so natural and perfect in that, just that little section. It's a little subtlety of brilliance in that.
What a wanker. Let's put him out of business, eh? Seriously? Do you believe that accent?
So the Scarecrow's fear toxin is what provides the catalyst for the events of the main story. And throughout the game, he's built up to be this psychological badass. So by the time we get to his end, for me, it was really disappointing. I mean, it was a strong section after we spend a good while in Bruce Wayne's mind with the Joker taking over and then Bruce Wayne no longer being afraid. But then Arkham Knight saving Batman just seemed a little bit too Deus Ex Machina. But even looking past that, when Wayne injects the Scarecrow with his own fear toxin and he just loses his mind, I mean, you'd think a criminal mastermind, somebody who was so exact and deliberate in their planning, from kidnapping Barbara Gordon to kidnapping James Gordon and Robin, somebody so perfect in everything they did in planning out Batman's descent into madness. You'd think somebody like that would have already planned out an antidote. But, you know, why let common sense get in the way of a good story? Whatever. I really liked Barbara Gordon's character in this game. I thought she was a really well fleshed out character. We got to see so many different sides of her. We got to see the feelings that she has for Tim Drake, and also the events that led her to becoming the Oracle when the Joker shows up at her apartment, shoots her and leaves her there. We see it through Batman's eyes, or through his memory. So we see how the body just lies there and her in pain, and you really get a sense of this being such a dark spot and such a painful chapter in both their lives. And even after she gets kidnapped by the Arkham Knights, you trace her to the crash site. You reconstruct it using the scanner. That tells the story of how she tried to escape, or at least tried to escape. What she did is that she sprayed mace at the driver's face, and that rhymed, and then he jumped out of the car while it was moving, risking her life. Arkham Knight could have killed her, but he didn't because he needed her. But he fired a warning shot. But she did so to leave the clue for Batman. You see her way of thinking, her bravery in that she knew that she couldn't get away. She knew she was risking her life, but she knew she had to get that clue out there. So that whole reconstructing, although you're doing it from Batman's perspective, it's his game after all. But you see her bravery, her tenacity in the way she orchestrated that crash site in order to get a clue out there. And then when you find Barbara Gordon and you watch her shoot herself, more specifically, you watch the Joker walk in front as she shoots herself. Now, as well as being a very, very cool visual, I do believe there's some artistic significance to the Joker walk in front of the when the gun goes off. It shows Batman's fears surfacing more and more. His fear of failure, his fear of history repeats itself up with more serious consequences. And as Batman just slumps down defeated, and you see the Joker sit between him and Barbara Gordon, and you get the alignment of the three characters from Batman, Joker, Barbara Gordon. Now, not so much the first time round, because at that point you don't know that Barbara Gordon is actually still alive, but certainly the second time round when you see that, knowing what happens eventually, it really gives that, well, for me anyway, it gives that impression of this is who you need to get through. This is the fears that you need to get past the Joker, that insane criminal that you feel you're becoming. You need to get past that to become the hero that Gotham needs you to be a little bit corny there. But it really does have that feeling for me that this is what you need to get past, and these are the things that you need to overcome to be the hero of Gotham. Alright, now the thing about the side missions is that they are pretty cool in moderation, but you don't get them in moderation. They're long. Some of them you only have to do like maybe one thing or just a few things and it's over. But there are others that are just ridiculously long, or you're literally doing the same things over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's ridiculous, and the worst one by far is the Riddler missions, the Riddler trophies and the riddles. There is so many of them. It's ridiculous how many trophies you need to get up, need to find. Now, the normal way to do it is to fly around or glide around or drive around, walk around or whatever, and you find like the green glowing people to show that they're part of Riddler's, one of Riddler's thug guys, and then you interrogate them and they tell you where stuff was. They show up on your map. But even that, it's just long. It's because you have to find them for one thing. They kind of show up randomly, and they just take ages sometimes. And it doesn't help that you're constantly hearing the same things over and over and over again. Because what happens is that the voices from the city, they change throughout the game as you're progressing through the story. The things that they say change throughout the game. So when you get to the end of the game, you just literally hear the same things over and over and over and over again, like Bruce Wayne is Batman, so who's been playing Bruce Wayne? It's so boring and tedious. And speaking of long, boring, tedious, why are there so many tank battles in this? I mean, even in the main story, there's quite a lot of tank battles, but there's so many tank battles in the side missions as well. So why is there so many tank battles? And it doesn't help that the Batmobile is so awkward to control. I mean, this thing controls like I don't even know what it controls like, because this is that broken. I don't even know what I can compare it to. It doesn't control like a typical racing game. But I mean, some parts are okay, like we just driving around. Chase scenes are ridiculous. They're really bad, and camera's moving around all the time. You constantly just like crash into stuff, and when you blow things up, it's like slow motion, like in Burnout. And it's just like I didn't even like that in Burnout. If your intention was to frustrate people, then you succeeded. That is what I am saying. Alright, so with the ending of the game, you get two endings. There's an ending that you get when you just defeat enough of the most wanted side missions, and you get one ending there. But when you defeat all of the most wanted side missions, then you get the full ending. Now, Angry Joe said that, just go watch it on YouTube. Now, he said that because of how the PC version is broken, and it's just not worth trying to play that broken game to get to the 100%. And I played it on PS4. PS4 version isn't as bad by far as the PC version in terms of its brokenness. It is a little bit broken. There are some issues, but not as bad as the PC version. But even still, go watch it on YouTube. It's just not worth it. It is so long. It's a long, ridiculous, boring grind to get to the 100%. And when you see the ending, or when I saw the ending, I was like, you know what? It's just not even worth it. You know, unless you're trying to get the platinum trophy, unless it's something that you really, really want for, you know, to brag about or whatever, then it's just not worth it. You know, you watch the ending on YouTube, once you see the ending, you'd be like, seriously, have to go through all that just to get that ending? It's just not even. Yeah, just watch it on YouTube. It's just not even worth bothering with the game. It's yeah. Alright, now IGN said that the pros of the game were that it has a gameplay variety, strong performances, detailed open world, and brawls and predator fights, whereas the cons were that the tanks feel out of place. Now, I agree with that, but they gave it a 9.2. Now, this game does not get 9.2. I mean, if you look at it on paper, yes, easily 9.2. But when you play the game, there is no way you're giving this game a 9.2. Because a 9.2 suggests that you're in for this amazing, awe-inspiring gameplay experience. And with the story mode, yes, to a degree, well, just the story mode, well, you taking the game as a whole and all the side missions and everything else about the game, absolutely not. And this is one of the reasons why I don't give scores anymore, because technically a game can score high, but when you play it, it really doesn't warrant that 9.2. It feels like they put a lot of effort into one section of the game and not so much effort into other sections of the game. Now, the Black Hokage said to wait until this game is cheaper, and I say definitely. The game is just not worth full price. Technical bugs aside, if you are a completionist, there is a lot to do. There is a lot to do in this game. But you'll spend way too much time being pissed off and or bored out of your brain to make it worthwhile. If you just care about the main story, which is absolutely superb, on its own, it's just not worth the full price. So I'd suggest waiting until it's around £15 or less, or the equivalent currency. That is what I feel is a good price for Arkham Knight. You know what? I think I'm going to have to stand up for this one. Alright, I just need to stretch a little bit. Let the blood circulate from the ends of my extremities. Alright, so there seems to be a lot of articles going around talking about how sexist and misogynist Arkham Knight is, and it all seems to stem from the same source. Now, I'm not going to name the source that it came from, but this is a person who seems to have quite a lot of influence in the gaming world and outside the gaming world as well. So I want to respond to that. Is Batman Arkham Knight sexist? Just so we're all on the same page, let's define sexism. Now, I'm going to define sexism as discriminating against a person on the sole basis of that person's gender. I think that's a pretty fair description of sexism, right? Yeah, cool. Now, the main reason why people are saying it's sexist is because it has damsels in distress. So there's Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Barbara Gordon. At some point throughout the game, they all find themselves in some sorts of peril, which is true. So they call this sexist. It's damsels in distress. It's sexist. But is it discrimination? No, because you also have Nightwing, James Gordon, Robin, Simon Stagg, and all the firefighters that are male that find themselves in some form of danger. So to have these ladies in danger is not discriminating against them. Also, now with the exception of Catwoman, who you only really encounter during the Riddler's side missions, all the aforementioned ladies contribute significantly to the story, and they're all legitimate badasses, especially Barbara Gordon. Everything that she goes through in the game, from being kidnapped to orchestrating the escape, spraying the driver with mace in the face, from the computer hacking and everything that she does in the game. And she's just a no-nonsense character that knows what she needs to do, knows how to do it, and gets on with it. So what these articles seem to be doing is literally taking like a small piece out of the game, taking it way out of context and saying, well, that's sexist. Here are the facts. Batman is a hero. Not a superhero, but a hero nonetheless. He rescues people. Without rescuing people, there'll be no point to the game. Batman goes after Scarecrow to prevent him from releasing the toxin so that he can rescue people. Now, if we're talking about specific people, Batman rescues more men in distress than he does women, and some of those men are other heroes. Alright, so another thing some of these articles were saying is that it encourages violence towards women, because you see when Barbara Gordon gets shot by the Joker, who's a bad guy by the way, you also see Barbara Gordon shoot herself in the head. Well, actually you don't, because the Joker walks in front, but it's orchestrated by the Scarecrow, who's a bad guy by the way. But because of these, it encourages violence towards women. Well, let's see, you spend the whole game beating up men, incapacitating men, running over men, electrocuting men, shooting men with rubber bullets, hitting men with baseball bats and all kinds of objects, all of which as the good guy. Batman Arkham Knight is not sexist towards women at all. But you know, still waits, it's like £15 or less because other issues. So that is my full review slash analysis slash discussion slash recap slash, you know, whatever you want to call it. Let me know if you agree, disagree, and or other. Any questions, send them my way. But that is all for now. So thank you for watching, and until next time, dream as if you'll live forever, live as if you'll die today. Because I just felt like quoting James Dean for no other reason than I like James Dean and it's a cool quote. So, you know, yeah.